Good morning, Ape Nation. I got a call to action for you. I'm just kidding. What's going on, YouTube? Hope everybody's having a great day. I do have some important stuff that I really want you guys to partake in with me as well, right? It's too important to ignore or to just kind of not take it for the serious thing that it really is. So that being said, we will jump right into it. We are getting the attention of the people that we need to get attention from. People like Gary Gensler making Twitters, talking about technology in the financial market, gaps, and basically it not being a fair playing field for retail investors. So good stuff. This is a real Twitter. It's verified. Kind of ties into what I am originally creating this video for. So with that being said, we will get right into it. You guys have probably already heard about this. There's a few different HR rules. We're looking at the 4619 particularly that came out. And basically it's to amend the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 to prohibit trading ahead by market makers and for other purposes. So this is a bill that's being proposed. It's not approved yet. But basically they want these guys to stop front running our shit. And there's going to be some issues that they get caught doing it should this get approved. So Mr. Congressman Green of Texas has introduced the following bill, which was referred to the Committee of Financial Services. And they obviously want to amend the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. And one of the main important sections is prohibition on trading ahead by market makers. So market makers are not going to be, if this is approved, not trading ahead of us. Huge deal. It's a big thing. And I know a lot of us started the squeeze because we wanted to have life-changing money, and that's still in play. But also we have the ability here to do what we set out to do and change the market forever, and make this a fair playing field. So going into this in general, with respect to a person acting in the capacity of a market maker, if the person accepts an order with respect to a security from a customer, including a broker or dealer, the market maker has a duty of trust and loyalty to the customer arising from the receipt of such order, and the information in such order is material, non-public information that may be used only in the furtherance of executing such customer's order. So that's telling us that, hey, look, there's, our orders are kind of telling. There's a lot of information in there. You're not going to use that information against us. That's not going to happen anymore should this get approved, right? Or we hope. And that's a big deal. They also want to do annual CEO certification, which is the CEO offers of each person that acts in the capacity of market maker shall issue an annual certification to the commission in such form and manner as the commission may prescribe by rule that certifies the person has performed reasonable due diligence during the reporting period to ensure that the person has not violated the duty of trust and loyalty described under paragraph 1A or use the information described under paragraph 1B in a prohibited fashion, and the person has not violated the duty of trust and loyalty described under paragraph 1A or used in 1B, pretty much the same verbiage. Personal liability. No, so first thing's a fine for individual violations. Any associated person of a market maker who knowingly and willfully causes the market maker to violate paragraph 1, or who directs another agent or associated person of the market maker to commit such a violation or engage in such acts that result in the associated person being personally unjustly enriched shall be fined in an amount equal to the greater of. So equal to the greater of. So whatever one is more. 2 times the amount of profit realized by reason of such violation, or $50,000. So no matter what, $50,000, we know that's a drop in the hat. That's chump change to hedge funds, market makers. We know that. Now, 2 times the amount of profit, that's a lot different. That's a big number. Let's just say if they made $30 million in profit, that's a $60 million fine. That, I think, hurts their pockets a little bit more, which is why we need to act offensively in assisting with getting this approved. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Also, the second part of this, This is pretty much the same verbiage identically that's up here in section A. But they do mention fine in an amount not to exceed 200% of the compensation, including stock options awarded as compensation received by such associated person from the market maker during the time period in which the violations occurred, or in a 1 to 3 year time period preceding the date on which the violations were discovered. And obviously the big one, and I do not think this is enough time considering these guys are irresponsibly managing the integrity of the whole entire market, but imprisonment for not more than 5 years. I'm hoping that with what I'm going to suggest that you guys do, will hopefully make that time a little bit longer. And again, I just think that these guys are not going to learn from the mistakes unless they really have some life-changing punishment, which I'm hoping this is what this leads to. So what is this video all about? How can we help? What am I calling on you guys for? Well, we collectively, and let's just say, and I know the space is so much bigger than what's just here in my channel, but I've got 11,000 plus subscribers. And let's assume that all of you guys, and I know this is not going to happen, but all of you guys did this. That's enough with just us. We would probably cause some major server issues, if anything. And that's not the intent, but the idea is so much coming in where they cannot avoid it. We are demonstrating that our ear is to the ground. We know what's going on. Stuff like this is what's important. We're not just dumb retail investors saying like, oh, I'm buying in. Like, that's just not how it is. Like, we are educated to the teeth and we know what's going on. So it will just let the people that are representing us know that we expect them to do their job. So what we have here is a draft. This is a letter that I've already sent this off to my representative here in California. And I recommend, and you don't have to use this one, okay, guys? Like, this is just a draft, an example. You could use this as a foundation for maybe what you want to write. You could use this, change some things, maybe to personalize it yourself, or you could just send this off. The idea is to be active and participate. So I'm going to actually read the letter. It's a little bit long-winded, but I think that you guys will really actually enjoy this. So we'll get right into it. I am urgently writing you with my request that you sincerely consider the laws which your colleagues in the House intend to put before the Senate imminently. I am certain you are aware that the United States financial markets have been in a state of chaos and uncertainty, despite all signs indicating that our stock market is healthy and doing well. I am writing to tell you that it's not. In the past year and a half since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, the Federal Reserve and Congress have designed to inject an inordinate sum of money into the stock market, issued to hedge funds and market makers, those organizations whose existence and whims move our nation's financial markets like a grass in the wind. The systematic fraud and irresponsibility of the greatest players in the financial market has been enabled and indeed encouraged by apathetic and even complicit regulators. Never has this been more clear than in the wake of the utter destruction unleashed on America in the wake of the 2008 housing crash and the Great Recession that followed. This event, which forever annihilated the American public's trust in the equitability and honor of our government, has touched all but the richest 1% of America's citizens. The crisis left people jobless, homeless, penniless, totally disillusioned from their misplaced faith in their government, who answered their fraudulence and irresponsibility of the banks that turned America's mortgage industry into a nuclear bomb that inevitably blew up in the face of Congress and our financial regulators. And Congress answered by forcing America's 99% to pay for the damage. Fast forward to the year 2021. I want you to look at the damage done by Wall Street in contrast to what's going on right now. For over 1 year, our nation is absolutely ravaged by death and malignancy of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, as our nation and its productive capacity came to a grinding halt. Once again, a tremendous tragedy, not of our own making, has left millions jobless, homeless, and penniless, with many millions more still at risk for the same once the moratorium on mortgage and rent delinquency protections expire. Millions of lives have been extinguished by this virus, and the government, in its reluctance to spare millions of America's poorest and most at-risk individuals from poverty and destitution at the expense of its richest, most comfortable, and most secured citizens. Our government has ignored inequality of the income gap, lack of insurability, lack of welfare, lack of options, and lack of compassion from the world's richest. We became sick of it, and the ape movement has become to be, as it has come to be known, demonstrates the most civil form of the American public's anger towards their elite compatriots who left them abandoned and resigned to death in the cold merciless of poverty, sneering at us for our laziness. We decided to do what they always said, sarcastic as they may have been. We worked, we invested, we painstakingly threw every last cent of our savings into a unified effort against the Wall Street elite. We saw their greed and corruptive abuse of the stock market and how it was destroying vulnerable companies that we felt an emotional and nostalgic bond with. Video game retailers like GameStop, movie theaters like AMC Entertainment, medical innovators like Sensasonics, challengers to the established oligopoly of the automotive industry like Lordstown Motors, all of them being targeted, overshorted, and maliciously attacked by a unification of fraudsters on Wall Street, only interested in destroying these companies for profit. And when we showed that we too could move the markets to grant ourselves even a chance at financial freedom, they told us no, not like that. For the first time in this nation's history, the world's richest men and organizations are afraid of the retail investor, known as dumb money by the elite of Wall Street. This is because we realized that together, though we may be as insignificant as ants to them, we can overwhelm them, and so we did. They became afraid of us because they realized we could teach ourselves to understand the market just as well, even better than they do. We spent countless combined hours poring over regulations, understanding the laws, the market mechanics, and the loopholes. We've spent the last year pointing out systematically all the flaws, shortcomings, and failings of our financial system. Because we did that, we have put them on the defensive for the first time. Now they're desperate, so desperate in fact, they have resorted to committing fraud in daylight. It is obvious to anyone and everyone in the financial industry what is happening right now. They have done everything they possibly can to crush us. The fraudulence and reprehensible malice in which hedge funds and market makers have unified against retail investors has never been more obvious than today. We have fought a financial revolution, and the outcome is still yet undecided, but the outcome is close at hand. Dear Representative, I would like to direct your full and undivided attention to the following: HR 4617, 4618, and 4619. These bills are proof that for the first time, the retail investor and a unified America has wielded the stock market as a weapon against the individuals in power who have used it to crush our hopes of financial freedom and security. And to pass these bills would mean victory. For the first time, America's citizens have fought the wealthy elite and held our own, despite playing a rigged game designed to steal from us and punishing us for daring to defy the status quo. I firmly believe that the fate of our nation, and indeed the world, hinges on the outcome of these bills and their passage before Congress. The desperate state of our economy, our dying nation, and rapidly deteriorating habitability of our very planet should serve as a slap in the face to you and every member of Congress. If you do not act in our interests and dethrone the apathetic demagogues, dictators, and deets of our financial world, we are all inevitably going to die. Our brief spark amid the infiniteness of the universe will be extinguished forever, and the evidence of our existence will be lost beneath the ashes of our dying planet and the sands of time. Though I cannot speak for all retail investors, I can speak for myself as one of the vast majority of Americans screaming in your face to protect us, as is your duty to us as a public servant. This is what we have to say. The wealthy elite of America have made every conceivable effort to enslave our nation and us through our debts to them. They have commoditized, stamped, and priced our freedom in dollars. Our worth is measured in our debt to our creditors and banks, a horrendous negative value that tells us that our value to them is less than nothing. We are desperate, angry, and exhausted, but we're not done. We are begging you to fight for us, as our Constitution and your oath demands you to do so. If you do not, then the consequences of inaction and apathy will rest at the collective feet of Congress, standing before the mass grave of humanity. I pray you will consider us seriously, and that you will not allow our voices, our lives, and our humanity to pass silently into the darkness. We have trusted the power of our voices to you. Do not disappoint us. With solemn respect and sincerity, Ape. Now, obviously you want to include your name in there because you're going to be going to your local representative. But this is a good foundation. You can use this. You can change it. You can do whatever. I'm going to provide a link to it in the description. My goal is that you act. You actually take action on this. So how can you find your House representative? Okay. You could go to house.gov, click on representatives, and find. I'll give a link directly to this page, which is the page where you can type in your zip code. So for example, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I used this 89130 zip code from when I was a kid. Find your rep by zip. Stephen Horsford. Okay. There's a button right here, little email. I'll click on that. It'll take me to his website where I'll have his email address. Or if I were to go, let's say, I know California. Click on this, right? Contact me. Here's all the ways that you can get a hold of him, okay? So please reach out. You can use the letter that's here. You could use the example. You could change it. You can make it your own. You can build something completely fresh. But make sure your representatives are getting these letters, guys. Let's make sure that they cannot avoid this. The importance of it getting approved, that we are on their necks. And with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. I love all of you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Sincerely. Love you a long time. Peace.